Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Sorry for the long delay. As you guys saw on the live stream, been real sick, but getting back to full health, finally getting myself back, and we're gonna have a lot of content coming out next week just to catch up with all the news that's been going on. A lot of stuff we want to touch on in college football, NFL draft prep, NBA All-Star break, as well as AAF. A lot of you guys want me to comment and start covering that, so we will do so. But first off, just as I was down and resting this week, I've been thinking a lot about Kyler Murray. As many of you know, he made the decision to pursue football full time. He will be attending the NFL Combine and going through all draft prep activities as he pursues trying to become an NFL quarterback, a first-round pick. He will not be reporting to spring training with the Oakland A's. And it's a very controversial decision across the sports world, NFL versus MLB. A lot of debate going on about it. Did Kyler Murray make the right decision? In my opinion, he did. In my opinion, I think you have to go with what you love. And look, I'm speaking objectively right now. Many of you know I'm a Texas fan, and he's been a thorn in our side this season as they secure the Big 12 championship from us in Arlington. But speaking on this, like I said, objectively, but watching this young man play high school football since he was a junior at Allen, and he's, one of the most dominant players I've ever seen in person. And that includes what he did at Oklahoma, at the 6A level in high school football. Always one of the smallest guys on the field, but always been the best player on the field. And I think when you have the ability that he has, and he's so dominant in a sport. And yes, he's a great baseball prospect with his speed, his arm, as well as his smarts and competitiveness. But he's raw. He hasn't had the at-bats. He hasn't had the same type of reps that he's had with football. And you guys have to consider his father, and it's a family business. I listened to Darren Woodson speak on this because them being from the DFW area and the nature and status of his father, they're all very connected with a lot of those athletes and whatnot. And Darren Woodson commented and said his family business. At the end of the day, his dad's a football, quarterback coach, tutor, mentors a lot of guys in the DFW area, and that's just what they do. So at the end of the day, I could always tell when he's interviewing and talking about these things, the issue is going to be the money and whether or not he was going to be able to balance it out with football. And it looks like if he's able to be a first-round pick in football, just with, his guaranteed contract, as well as the potential of the endorsements, if you're one of the 32 starting quarterbacks, to me, it's a no-brainer to take the risk and do what you love. It's not like he's in a, they're tight for money and they're not, already doing well as a family and whatnot. He has the luxury to pursue this. And on top of that, yes, the height is a concern. Yes, and people talking about 5'9" and the injury concerns. I think people are a little bit off of whether he can throw through throwing lanes and whatnot, because he did have a really big offensive line at OU that he had to throw, and obviously it was a non-issue. But when you talk about the injury concerns, and that's valid because he's probably only 180-something pounds. I don't even know if he's in the 190s. But when you still factor in style of play, he doesn't play necessarily like a Michael Vick or even a Robert Griffin III, where they were very reckless with their bodies, even when they were running out of bounds or sliding, very reckless. Kyler Murray protects himself at all times. It's something I've noticed even going back to his high school days, because he's always been pretty durable throughout his football career thus far. He protects himself. In those Texas games, one of the things I noticed is when we had guys like Amenahue or Roach or whoever was in there closing in on the pocket, he would really just concede and take the sack. He would live to find another play. Did that a lot in the Alabama game. He gives himself up as a runner very well. The baseball aspect comes in because he slides well. So those are things you have to take into account as he does a good job. Very akin to Russell Wilson. I do like that comp in some ways because Russell Wilson was also a former baseball player, and you see the same set of skills there. Platforms with throws. He's a very polished thrower. So those are things. And my final point with why I think this is good, a good decision by Kyler Murray and his family, is the nature of the quarterbacks and how the NFL is regarding them in regards to the Big 12. Look at Patrick Mahomes. look at Baker Mayfield. Those two guys are your case studies for successful Big 12 quarterbacks transitioning into the NFL. And a lot of it is because of their creativity, their personal creativity as playmakers from the pocket, outside the pocket, and things they're able to do. Kyler Murray is in that same creative realm. And that's what we have to deal with week in and week out in our conference. And the NFL is hot on that right now. So if you're Kyler Murray and you see the seasons that those two guys just had last year, you're saying, I feel like I'm in the same caliber of player as those guys. Yes, he is smaller, but he's also a lot faster. And he's the best athlete out of those three. So it all kind of balances out. I think he'll be able to protect himself, and I think he'll be a very good NFL quarterback. I think they'll always be concerned about his health and size and if he takes that one big hit. But I think it's a risk you have to take, especially if you love the game. And if you guys ever love anything and you're always, in between something that could potentially yield you income or something you're really good at that could also yield your income, but it's more of a risk, what do? I think that's something we all have to ask ourselves sometimes. But look, as a guy who, watched my team have to compete against him twice and we split those games, hell of a competitor, somebody I'm not looking forward to ever seeing again from a Texas perspective. And I think we'll have a great chance to win since they don't have that guy on their team next year. No disrespect to Jalen Hurts or whoever else they put out on the field. But that's how highly regarded I have Kyler Murray. So curious to get everybody else's thoughts in the comments and just chime in on this. If any of you guys thought he should have taken the safer route, if you will, in baseball, and who knows if that's a safer route, because he still would have had to serve going to, Timbuktu, Missouri, AA ball, AAA ball, and still working his way up to the majors. Y'all know how it goes. But the security aspect, the health aspect, and baseball is a fruitful sport if you're able to push through. So very interesting debate. Curious to get everybody's thoughts. Make sure you guys are following us on all social media accounts. I want to start curating things for each, social media platform, have a little Twitter things and Instagram and on all those types of platforms and whatnot. But appreciate you guys hanging with me in the office right now. Get ready to head out of town. But like I said, at the end of this weekend and then going to next week, we'll have plenty of content coming out on the channel as we continue to grow this thing. Appreciate every single one of you guys that follows us and sends me emails and all that. I get all y'all's messages, and I really, really appreciate all the love and support. Appreciate you guys always. Thank you. Over and out.